Welcome back to Apatros Review. In this episode, Out of Reach, directed by Po Chi Leung in the year 2004, and there's a cover. Hi there, welcome back to Apatros Review, your guide to the wild world of science fiction action horror with me, your host, Mele Sipka. Now in this episode we look at the film Out of Reach, which is my first Steven Seagal film for this year. I got plenty more coming up. And I'll just read the blurb of this. This is a 2004 film. It's a co-production between the United Kingdom and Poland. It came out direct-to-video in 2004. Now for the blurb. And by the way, the tagline for this is, it's a split second between hit or miss. What is it with these taglines? Here's the only hope for escape. Billy Ray Lansing, Steven Seagal, a former covert agent turned survivalist, takes on his deadliest case when he discovers that the foster program he's using to help a young girl is actually a human trafficking network. How do you think about that? Headed out by a deadly crime boss, who's in the film for about 2 minutes, the operation is worth billions, and the girls are sold and traded all over the world. Determined to put an end to the operation, Lansing must draw on all of his lethal skills to bring the network down. That's basically the blurb at the back of the film. Now, another one of the long string of very poorly regarded direct-to-video B-actioners that Steven Seagal made during the course of the 2000s in the dregs of Eastern Europe, Out of Reach has the Stout Sensei, playing a retired US government agent who has made an impressive list of enemies in his former career, who now makes even more enemies when a young Polish orphan he's been pen pals with is abducted from an orphanage to be sold into human sex trafficking. There was a time in the 2000s when all the bad B-graded actioners were coming out of Eastern Europe, and Out of Reach is another one of those. This is nothing new for Steven Seagal, but what makes this one of his very worst films is due to the idiotic script that Trevor Miller penned. A script that gives off the impression it was written by a 13-year-old boy who simply did a random search of several European news websites and took the most topical subjects to compose for his work. The logic in Out of Reach is, well, the title says it all. Characters make the decisions out of pure illogic, as the opposite of logic. Their minds going to the strangest of places without any overriding sense of coherence. If you can stomach the fact that the head villain's boss is only in the film for a solitary couple of minutes scene, that's right, 2 minutes and you never see him again, which probably was to build up for room for a sequel, which thankfully never eventuated. The fact that all the Polish cops speak English without understanding the nuances of the language, to say that English is not their regular language is somewhat redundant, given that this film is set in Poland, or the disturbing sight of a young Polish orphan boy knocking back a small bottle of alcohol in one gulp with the finesse of your finest Russian drunks, even though he's Polish. The one thing you cannot get your head around is the incomprehensibly daft scene where a girl, Seagal after, realizes Seagal's in the vicinity in a party and out of desperation makes a code message out of the caviar. It's a strange way, fair enough, but the villain sees the message and decides to let it pass through anyway. People in these films do the strangest things, eh? The stupidity of the exercise is blindingly obvious, although some Seagal fans consider this one to be one of the middle-of-the-road entries in the actor's filmography. I don't agree with that. Instead, I consider Out of Reach to be one of the very worst of Seagal's 2000s direct-to-video output. Even the two legendarily bad Michael Oblowitz B-grades that Seagal made for his first forays into the direct-to-video market were better than this somewhat. With The Foreigner having a simple plot but very clumsily edited, you can understand the story better each time you rewatch it. Something most people have no stomach for doing, but I strongly suggest you do it to actually understand The Foreigner. While Up for a Kill was atrocious, but at least the weird story had its own inner sense of logic to it, something that Out of Reach is not. Not to mention that Up for a Kill actually had the weirdest decapitation ever shown on the screen. And by that I mean Steven Seagal actually tosses a samurai sword out of a second-story window and decapitates a guy. So if you're after Up for a Kill, get that for that. Otherwise it's a pretty bad film. I'll avoid talking about the fact that the film's plot is trying to tackle a real-world problem that doesn't fit in with the role of cinema. That is to provide escapism for the viewer to leave behind the problems of everyday life for the span of the chosen film's running time. In this case, makes a complete botch-up of its objective. Hang on, I just did that. But I will mention the awful dubbing job they did to Seagal's voice, which constantly switches between Seagal's real voice and that of his ADR voiceover artist, even in the middle of a sentence. That really is the pits for the long-suffering Steven Seagal fan. Now, there's no gore in this, but there are bullet wounds aplenty, but very, very little of the Seagal's trademark limb-twisting scene here. There's no nudity either, but plenty of Polish hookers having their fawn-clad butts seen throughout the brothel shootout scene. Yes, there is a gunfight in a high-class Polish brothel. This really earns its place in the realm of the D-, 1 out of 10. One of Seagal's very worst films. Now, my disc comes from of course, this probably is actually the American cover, but it's same artwork and same same label, for Columbia TriStar, later released by Sony Pictures. And the picture quality is actually it's reasonable. I mean, it's standard for what a Sony Steven Seagal direct-to-video feature was at the time. No extras, but you know, actually there might be some trailers or something on one of these. I didn't check last time. Anyway, out of reach gets a D-, 1 out of 10. It's crap. Hope you enjoyed that. Now, I don't do a request, but if you want to know if a particular film in my collection, just hit me up in the comment section, I'll answer. Hope you guys are staying safe. It's kind of a nice sunny day out here. A little bit hot. Actually, it's pretty damn hot. And Australia Day is right tomorrow, so that's going to be cool. Now, I'm doing these once every 3 days from now on, up until probably March. I'll do one every second day or something. We'll see about that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Stay safe, and that's it for this review.